BhartiAirtel Sanjay Kapoor, Tata Steel's B. Muthuraman, along with them Feedback Ventures, Vinayak Chatterjee, and of course we've also got Sunil Kant Munjal from Hero Corporate Services standing by at our CII studio. In fact, they've joined Anjana Menon and Manisha Natarajan there. So let's quickly dip in and listen to what their reactions are to the budget.
We'll have to be clear about how much the union budget can address. So if we just restrict ourselves to the union budget and look at the directional change, it's very interesting. Last year the finance minister said, look, 46% of the union budget is directed towards infrastructure. And what did he say this year? 48.5. So 48.5 is as close as you get to 50, and when you find that 50% or thereabouts of the union budget is directed towards schemes and programs in infrastructure, I really think that we can't expect more out of the union budget. Everything else that you expect, you have to expect out of the union budget, because this is as high as you can get. So therefore, from the infrastructure sector, to make the broad point, we are very happy about what we call the infrastructure intensity, increasing infrastructure intensity of the union budget.
Is it though translating into real stuff on the ground? I mean, I still have to go through bad roads.
Well, that in fact is the administration governance issue, and since you wanted some criticism, I think that's one of the issues where we did expect that there would be some clear mention about governance issues in infrastructure. And to come straight to the point, with all that has happened recently, there was certainly an expectation that there would be some policy announcement on moving ahead with truly independent economic regulators, because without that you are not going to get 500 billion out of 1,000 billion in the next plan period. So those issues of addressing delivery and governance to that extent has not been as adequate as we had hoped it would be.
We had also proposed involvement of the private sector in monitoring some of the infrastructure spend. That has not happened either.
True.
But Mr. Munjal, to an extent, the increasing social spending, it's good for you, it's good for Sanjay's firm, for example, because the person in rural India has more disposable income. How much of a fillip do you think this is going to give you?
The social spend, which was actually strongly resisted by industry about 10 years ago, it's come to be more and more welcome, because people have actually seen the benefit of this, that as the sections of society which are currently poor or at a certain income level, as they become more prosperous, they become customers for goods and services produced by industry. So it is actually self-serving, and it's also defensive, because you don't want to be in a country where such a large population lives literally on the edge. And we've seen country after country in the Middle East facing an issue almost revolution-like because of extreme poverty.
So inclusive budget, Sanjay, that's how you termed it, and you said as money trickles down to the poorest, whether it's through farm subsidy or just making the rural poor better off, including direct cash transfers, which will of course stop leakages, or at least begin the process of stopping leakages in social spending. All of that is good for the business. Where was the miss? Where did you think we could have done more, or you could have heard more from the finance minister?
So in an industry where 60% of the new customers come from rural India, anything that trickles down to the masses, whether it's in terms of the income tax rebates that customers get, or it's the rural subsidy that goes down, or it's the inflation that comes down. And food inflation is something that I think the finance minister is trying to attack directly. All these should be accretive to spends, because it is roti, kapda, makan and mobile phone probably, and if that's the order, then obviously it should benefit us. What did not get the attention? Well, I would say a couple of things. One was crude oil did not get a mention, and crude oil will have an impact on any industry, including mobile telephony, because most of our towers are in rural India, and we need diesel to run many of our sites. That's one. Second thing, I think last year we contributed very positively towards government reducing the fiscal deficit by way of 3G and BWA auctions. One did not see those amounts reflected, and I can easily say that the whole broadband journey has just about begun in the country, and there's more appetite in the industry to absorb much more 3G and BWA spectrum to serve the customers of India, where we believe in the next 10 years the consumption of data will increase 1,000-folds.
All right, so there you heard it. Lots of reactions coming in from the CII set, and remember, it's been a busy day. A whole lot of corporate India and of course market men have been focusing on this budget for many days now. So for few of them it was a bit of an anti-climax, but remember, there's been lots there that we'll discuss and debate over the next few days. In fact, for now it's a wrap on this show, but remember, our budget programming continues right through this evening. So stay tuned to NDTV Profit for plenty more